Hello everyone. Welcome to today's story, where Diep runs for her life, caught between danger and a love that bleeds to protect her. Will she choose distant safety, or the one who stood by her, broken but true? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of these intense, soul-stirring stories. Let's dive in. Diep runs into the darkness, her breath slicing the cold night like a trembling blade. The moon floats above like a silent, pale witness, its glow too far to comfort her. Diep feels the sharp sting of branches clawing at her arms and the burning pain in her legs, but she doesn't dare to stop. Each step is a frantic prayer whispered to the stars, each gasp a fragile thread tying her to the hope of survival. She doesn't know where the narrow path leads, only that she must keep moving, away from John. Behind her, she hears his heavy, determined footsteps pounding like thunder on the damp forest floor. John's shadow merges with the trees, a monstrous echo following her heartbeat. In flashes between the trees, James's face returns to her mind. James's warm eyes during late dinners, the softness of his voice telling her to rest, the gentle touch on her shoulder when she felt weak. She remembers Haki, their dog, his loyal eyes reflecting a simpler, peaceful life. But now, all those fragments feel like a distant dream slipping through her fingers. Diep stumbles. Her knee crashes onto sharp stones, a cry caught in her throat. She tastes blood on her lips but pushes herself up, trembling. "James, where are you now? Why aren't you here?" She screams inside, but the forest only answers with hollow echoes. A sudden rustle behind her. Diep spins around, breath shivering, her eyes wide with terror. Every shadow feels like an enemy. Every leaf whispers of betrayal. Yet beneath the terror, something fierce and wild stirs. Diep refuses to surrender. Tonight, she chooses the pain of running over the darkness of captivity. She chooses the tiny, flickering chance of dawn over the heavy certainty of John's hands. John crashes through the undergrowth, his breath like a wild animal's growl echoing in the night. The glint of a blade catches the moonlight, slicing through the darkness as he pushes branches aside, eyes locked on Diep's trembling silhouette ahead. Every heartbeat in Diep's chest is a countdown. She feels him closing in, each step heavy with violent certainty. Diep's lungs burn, her legs scream in pain, but she forces herself forward, driven by a primal terror deeper than any wound. Thoughts of James float in and out like shattered glass. James calling her name with warmth. James laughing under the soft kitchen light. James whispering promises she once believed would last forever. Now, those memories sting more than the cold air against her bleeding skin. She glances over her shoulder. John's figure looms closer, his hands reaching out as if to claim a fragile bird escaping a cage. Her heart pounds so hard she thinks it might shatter. In a rush of desperation, Diep turns sharply, darting into a thicket, thorns clawing her skin like angry fingers. She bites her lip to stop from crying out, her mind spinning with a single word: freedom. Branches snap behind her. John's curses mix with the crackling of broken twigs, his rage filling the air like a violent storm. Diep's pulse becomes a frantic drumbeat in the dark orchestra of the forest. Above, the moon hides behind a veil of clouds, as if turning away from her struggle. Diep realizes she is alone. James isn't here. Only her fear, and the shadow of John. Yet something inside whispers, "Run, Diep. Run for your soul." Diep's foot catches on a hidden root, and she crashes to the ground. The forest floor greets her with cruel stones, tearing into her knees and palms. For a moment, the world spins, her breath knocked from her chest like a fragile flame. She rolls onto her side, gasping, eyes wide as she sees John emerging from the shadows, closer than ever, his face twisted, his hands outstretched, ready to drag her back into the darkness. Diep tries to scramble backward, fingers clawing at damp leaves and broken twigs. Every nerve screams to move, but her body trembles, frozen between the urge to fight and the weight of terror. In that instant, her mind flashes again to James, his distant warmth, the dinners they once shared, his gentle jokes that now echo like fading ghosts. John steps forward, his boots crushing the fallen branches. Each step a loud verdict against her hope. Just as his fingers almost graze her ankle, a sudden noise slices the silence. A figure crashes through the trees. Tung. His eyes burn with desperate fury, his body moving like a storm breaking the sky. Without hesitation, Tung throws himself at John, their bodies colliding with a sickening thud. The sound of fists meeting flesh, the crack of branches underfoot, the sharp grunt of pain. The forest holds its breath. Diep stares, heart hammering, frozen between horror and disbelief. Tung's arms become a barrier, a wall between her and the monster she fears most. She sees blood splatter on Tung's sleeve, his face twisted in agony but unyielding. In that moment, something deep inside Diep shatters, and something else, fragile but fierce, begins to bloom. Tung and John crash against a tree, bark splintering under their weight. Tung's breath is ragged, each inhale sharp as shattered glass. He wraps his arm around John's shoulders, pulling him back with all the strength left in his battered body. John swings wildly, fists pounding into Tung's ribs, each blow echoing like thunder in Diep's ears. Blood trickles down Tung's temple, dark and glistening beneath the moon's dim glow. His teeth grit together, jaw locked in defiance. Through the chaos, his eyes find Diep, wild, pleading, and impossibly gentle all at once. In those eyes, Diep sees a silent promise. "I will not let him take you." John roars, twisting to free himself, but Tung holds on. Every movement sends shockwaves of pain through his body, but he refuses to yield. The ground beneath them is a brutal canvas of crushed leaves, dirt, and droplets of blood. Diep watches, her hands trembling, her throat tight with terror and something more. A dawning realization that cuts deeper than any blade. In this violent symphony, Tung is the only note of protection, the only warmth in the cold night. John finally shoves Tung away, and Tung stumbles, nearly collapsing. But he catches himself, staggering forward again, his arms wide as if to shield Diep with nothing but his battered flesh. Diep's heart screams to move, to help him, to run. But her feet are rooted, tangled in fear and an unfamiliar ache. In Tung's broken silhouette, she sees a raw, unpolished love, a love that bleeds and stands anyway. At that moment, the forest holds its breath, waiting to see which soul will break first. Tung's legs buckle, and he crashes to the ground, his hands digging into the dirt as if trying to hold on to the last threads of strength. Diep rushes forward, her voice breaking through the silent forest like a single, desperate note. She kneels beside Tung, her fingers hovering over his bleeding wounds, afraid to touch, afraid to cause more pain, but unable to pull away. John stands a few feet away, chest heaving, eyes wild with rage. He takes a step toward them, but Tung lifts his head, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. With a hoarse, defiant whisper, he warns, "Don't touch her." For a moment, time folds in on itself. Diep's heart thrashes against her ribs, her fingers now pressing on Tung's wounds to stop the bleeding, her tears mixing with the sweat and dirt on his skin. She feels the warmth of his blood seeping through her palms, each drop an unspoken confession of everything he never dared to say. John hesitates, the raw, unfiltered power of Tung's determination forcing him backward. Finally, with a curse swallowed by the trees, John disappears into the darkness, leaving behind the echoes of his defeat. Diep collapses against Tung's shoulder, sobbing. The scent of iron and forest soil fills her lungs. In this quiet pocket of night, she realizes that Tung isn't just saving her life. He's offering her a choice, a mirror reflecting a kind of love she never believed she deserved. Diep presses her forehead to his, whispering words neither of them can fully understand yet, but both feel deep in their bones. In this fragile, blood-soaked embrace, she finds the trembling edge of her own heart. Tung's breathing is shallow, each inhale a battle, but his eyes remain locked on Diep, unwavering, raw, almost painfully tender. Diep dabs at his wounds with trembling hands, her tears sliding down onto his skin, merging with the blood in silent confessions neither of them dare to voice aloud. "Why did you come?" Diep finally whispers, her voice barely rising above the rustle of leaves. Tung's lips twitch into a fragile, broken smile. "Because I couldn't let him take you," he rasps, each word like a blade drawn slowly across flesh. Diep's mind spins. James's face flickers in her memory, his warm laughter, the soft glow of their dinners, the quiet promises of a safe, stable life. But now, that life feels like a distant shoreline she can't quite reach. Here, under her trembling fingers, is Tung. Bloodied, breathing, real. "I don't understand. Why risk everything?" Diep asks, though a part of her already knows. Tung's hand moves, weak but certain, finding hers and holding it with a strength that startles her heart. "Because I'd rather be broken here with you than whole somewhere else without you," he says, voice quivering, eyes shimmering with tears he refuses to let fall. Diep's breath catches, her world narrowing to this fragile thread binding them. James feels further away now, unreachable in the hush of the forest. She looks down at their entwined hands, the warmth of Tung's blood painting her skin, the silent vow pulsing between them. In this shared pain, she senses an unexpected sanctuary, something terrifying yet impossibly alive. In that instant, Diep realizes she is standing on the edge of two worlds, the safe harbor of old promises and the fierce, aching blaze of something true. Diep's fingers hover over her phone, the screen glowing like a distant star in the dark. Her thumb trembles as she presses James's name, each ring echoing in her ears like a hollow drumbeat. She waits, heart suspended between hope and dread. But there is no answer, only the soft, merciless hum of emptiness. A cold wind brushes against her skin, carrying with it the scent of pine and wet earth. She lowers the phone slowly, her arm suddenly heavy as stone. Tung watches her, his breath ragged, a faint shimmer of pain and something softer lingering in his gaze. Diep turns to look at Tung, their eyes colliding in a silence thicker than any words. In the moon's quiet glow, his battered face looks both strong and heartbreakingly vulnerable. She feels the warmth of his blood still drying on her hands, a silent testament to everything he gave without question. For a moment, her mind flutters back to James, the dinners, the gentle touches, the dreams of safety and calm. But now all of it feels as far away as a star that once seemed close enough to touch. Tung's hand twitches, as if he wants to reach for her but is too afraid. Diep exhales shakily, her fingers brushing against his, a soft, tentative promise neither of them dare to name yet. She presses her forehead against his, breathing in the raw, unguarded scent of him. Her other hand still clutches the phone, cold and useless against the heat of this fragile, bleeding connection. Above them, the sky watches in quiet witness. In this stolen breath, Diep feels the weight of every choice she has yet to make. The old love she can't fully let go, and the fierce, imperfect love pulsing beneath her trembling fingertips.
Diệp trốn thoát khỏi John trong đêm tối, bị truy đuổi trong sợ hãi và tuyệt vọng. Đúng lúc cô sắp bị bắt lại, Tùng xuất hiện liều mình cứu cô, bị thương nặng nhưng vẫn bảo vệ đến cùng. Nhưng trong khoảnh khắc chăm sóc Tùng, Diệp nhận ra tình yêu chân thật, dám hy sinh của anh, khác với sự xa cách vắng mặt của James. Dù James nhưng không dù gọi cho James cũng không trả lời. Diệp lung lay giữa quá khứ an toàn và hiện tại là cảm xúc. Cuối cùng cô chạm khẽ tay Tùng, đứng trước sự lựa chọn đau đớn ở lại với tình yêu đầy vết thương nhưng chân thành. Hãy tiếp tục tin vào mối tình xa xỉ lạnh lẽo với James.